That's the sound of me clapping for head coach Kevin McHale making the right decision in this game to stay with Patrick Beverley for the entire fourth quarter. And I'll explain that. I know a lot of people are going to be upset. I'm sure J-Lin fans are going to be upset because Jeremy didn't play for the last, whatever it was, 14 minutes of the game or so. But Kevin McHale made the right decision, and I'm happy that he made it. And he made the wrong decision the other day in the Washington game when he came back with Jeremy. And I think Houston had the lead in that game. And then Jeremy came back in, and we know Jeremy was sick, and then Houston lost. I'm going to do some comment stuff at the end of the video. I actually wanted to do all of the comments from Jeremy Lin comment video number 3 and game 59, but this video got delayed because JDV called me up right after the game ended. So just to try to get this up quicker, I'm only going to do a few comments from the game 59 video. So either I'll do a video tomorrow or we'll just wrap it in with Sunday's video for game 61. Off topic, I watched that little Miami Heat Harlem Shake video today, and I got to say, that was pretty funny. So if you haven't seen that, I would encourage you to go watch it. I haven't gotten into the whole Harlem Shake craze thing. I haven't watched any other video about it, but I watched that one. It's only like a minute long, and it's pretty funny. And I get it. I get it. I can understand what the little craze is, and I thought Miami did a pretty good job on that. Now, Orlando was the 28th different opponent for Houston and J-Lin this year. So the only team they haven't played yet is the Phoenix Suns, and they would be playing them pretty soon. And look, it's, again, Jeremy's seen everybody now, except for Phoenix and Goran Dragic. And great. As I said, there's pretty much no real more surprises except for Phoenix, and that's good. Jeremy's getting his first turn around the league as a starter for Houston, and that's just going to help him out. Jameer Nelson was out for the Orlando Magic in this game, and he is their starting point guard. So that was that made things a little bit easier for Jeremy and the Rockets. Now, Houston won the game 118-110. With the win, Houston improves to 32-28. This was an enormous win, a huge win after losing the last two games in disappointing fashion. Those are two games that I think most people thought Houston was going to win. And this was a close game. And I'll go over that more in the quarter by quarter, but there was definitely a chance Houston was going to lose this game. And so it's just really important that they won. And things were going down the path that they were going in the Washington and Milwaukee games. And what was happening was Houston's defense wasn't good enough. They were getting into a mode of where they just wanted to score and outscore the other team, which is what Houston does a lot. But what happens is the other team gets into an offensive groove also. That's exactly what happened in the Washington game, and it's exactly what happened in the Milwaukee game. Houston's only focusing on offense and not defense. That was the reason why Kevin McHale went with Patrick Beverley for the fourth quarter, because he knew that unless Houston picked up the defensive intensity, they were going to lose, just like they lost the last two games. And it was the right decision. Patrick Beverley played great defense in the fourth, particularly down the stretch. And he can play defense better than Jeremy can because he's smaller than him. He's smaller and he's thinner. And that's why he has more energy, more quickness on defense. And he's used to playing tough defense. You can see that. You can tell certain guys are a lot of their game is based upon playing good defense. If you've watched the Boston Celtics or Avery Bradley, they're, I guess he's starting shooting guard and playing point guard now. Avery Bradley has a defensive mindset. He's a phenomenal defender. Patrick Beverley is like that. He has an intensive defensive mindset. Jeremy doesn't have that yet. Now, Jeremy's a good defender. He's a good defender, although he does struggle with certain guys because, as we've talked about before, Jeremy's a little bit bigger from the waist down, hips, legs, and that makes it a little harder for him to move quickly. Like some of these guys, you look at some of these guys, their calves and thighs and their sticks. Well, those guys can move quick because they're moving less mass on that part of their body. Beverly's a thin guy, but those are usually the guys that are great defenders. And Jeremy, again, I'll talk about this more in the quarter by quarter. Jeremy worked hard, particularly in the third quarter, to pick up his defense. But it's something you have to get used to playing, trapping, pick you up for the entire length of the court, hounding defense. It's a skill. It's a mentality. And Jeremy doesn't have that right now. Jeremy's better. He's better in the mode of let's outscore this other team. He's better in the Mike D'Antoni, Steve Nash, score. That's what Jeremy's best at. But he's going to get better at the defensive aspect of it now. Why? Because he's playing with Patrick Beverley. And if he doesn't get better at it, then Patrick Beverley's going to get more minutes. And so this is really going to help him. The same way that we've talked about how playing in this offense is going to help Jeremy in the end because he has to learn new skills. Playing with a defender like Patrick Beverley at your same position is going to help Jeremy become a better and more complete player. So I'm not upset at all. I'm happy, and I am glad that Kevin McHale did what he did because it worked. And I think that had Jeremy stayed in the game, I'm not sure Houston would have won this game because they needed Patrick Beverley's defense, and it worked great. Houston just needs to play better defense. They want to outscore you, and that's cool, but there are times when that doesn't work, and then you need to rely on your defense, and that's what the championship-level teams do. San Antonio, they can outscore you, but they can also shut you down. Miami, same thing. Houston doesn't have that yet. They don't have that. They don't have that mentality at all, and I don't expect them to have it. The only guy on their team that is truly an excellent defender is Omer, and that's good. That's important to have your center be a good defender, but you need it from everybody. And the only other guy really that consistently does it is Patrick Beverley. And good. That'll help the rest of the team develop it too. And as we've mentioned before, this is why it's important to have a quality bench so that you have somebody like Patrick Beverley that can come in and do this. And he did it, and he did it great. And as I said, Patrick Beverley is better than Tony Douglas. And I like Tony Douglas, but Patrick Beverley is better than him. And tonight is a good example of why and what he can do relatively consistently. That Tony Douglas can't do that game in, game out. He can't. Not defense and hitting the threes like Beverley was in this game. So, great. Okay, let's talk about Jeremy. Jeremy played pretty well in this game. He really played well in the first half and was amazing in the first quarter. He was a little bit off in the third quarter, and we'll talk about that a little bit, but Nothing too much. I mean, he still played well in the third quarter. It just, Orlando already had an offensive flow at that period of time. And so Jeremy picked up his defense, but it was too late. It was too late because Orlando was already doing what they wanted to do. And so his offense kind of slowed down a little bit in the third, and that's why it was the right decision for Patrick Beverley to come in. If Jeremy's not going to give you really high-level offense and you need defense, then that's when you're going to go to Patrick Beverley, and that's what happened. Jeremy scored 11 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists. He played 26 minutes, shot 3 out of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3, which is great, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, no steals, no blocks, 2 turnovers, 1 foul. His plus-minus was 0, and his efficiency number was 11. Now, Patrick Beverley had 13 points, 2 boards, 6 assists in 20 minutes. He shot 5 of 7 from the field. He shot 3 of 4 from three-point land, 0 free throw attempts, 3 steals, no blocks, 1 turnover, 1 foul. Plus-minus was plus 10, and his efficiency number was 21. So Patrick was a little bit better than Jeremy, but it doesn't matter. It's just the combination, the total numbers from the point guard position were awesome. And that's why you have quality depth. You need quality depth. I mean, these guys shot 5 of 6 from three-point range. The 2 guys did. Phenomenal. They needed it tonight. Okay, early in the first quarter, Jeremy had a nice catch-and-shoot three-pointer from about 25 degrees right of the top of the arc. He got really good leg depth on his shot, meaning he bent down well. Sometimes when guys miss long-distance shots, it's because they don't get enough leg into it. Your legs are what give you the strength to shoot from distance. And, well, for most guys, not everybody, but most players, the only guys that don't rely on leg strength to shoot from far away is guys that are really tall and big. Those are the guys you'll see they barely jump, and they'll shoot easily from three-point range. And those are taller guys. Jeremy's not in that. He's not big enough to be able to do that. That put Houston up 7-0, and there were 11 minutes left in the first quarter. Also early in the first, Jeremy had a nice pass to Demo for a short left-handed jump hook. Demo played great in this game. He had 17 points. Again, his skill level's high. He's got to work on defense, and he still has things to learn on offense, but he can shoot and he can play, and it's good that he's getting more of a chance to show it. Also early in the first, Jeremy hit an off-the-dribble three-pointer from about 15 degrees right of the center. That came with 9:45 left in the first, and it gave Houston a 14-4 lead. Now, and this was early in the game. This was before 8 minutes left in the first quarter. I wrote a note that says, Rocks must improve defense. So I could see it coming, that we were heading for another one of these games where the opponent was going to find their own groove, and then Houston was going to have a problem. And it's something they're going to have to work at, and it'll take time. Look, some of the ways in which the Rockets play is because they need to play this way. They need to play up-tempo. They need to shoot threes just because of what their players can and can't do. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a while. So, you can't do everything at once. If you're focusing on offense, well, it's hard to focus on defense. So they still have plenty of room to grow, and it's not going to happen this year. I mean, it's not all going to happen this year, and that's okay. As I said, the goal for this year is make the playoffs, and then you could focus on off-season acquisitions maybe, and then getting your team better and defense, etc. Houston did come out in this game very focused, and they were mad, from losing the last game. You could see that, and that's good. That's what you want to see. They came out with a purpose, and that's good. Also, I noticed that Demo was he did look more settled in this game than he did in the last game, which I think was his first start. Jeremy was very active on defense. He was looking for steals. He didn't get any, but he got a couple of near steals. I mean, he was trying to pick up his defense, and that's good. Middle of the first quarter, Jeremy had a nice pass to Demo for a three-pointer from the left corner. Also, middle of the first, Jeremy drove to the lane, shot a little floater, and was blocked, but he drew the foul. And he got 2 shots, and he made both of them. That came with 4 minutes and 41 seconds left in the first quarter. I made a note then that said, Houston will let teams back into games. And that means, just like Milwaukee game, they'll go up big, but then they'll let the other team back because their defense gets sloppy, or their offense gets sloppy, or both. And that happened in this game as well. They were up by 10 points early, and then pretty soon that lead was gone, essentially. Patrick Beverley came in the game for Jeremy with 3 minutes and 22 seconds left in the first quarter. Houston was up 26-22 at that point. Here I made another note. I said Houston needs more post-up offense. This is what they don't have. Omer, at this point in his development, is not a great post-up offensive player. I mean, he's not that good, honestly. Greg Smith, same thing. Thomas Robinson, not sure, but I know he still has to keep working on his post-up game a little bit. Demo is probably the best post-up guy on the team. What you saw here late in the first quarter was that they were going to James Harden as a post-up option, but he was pretty far away from the basket. The reason why they were doing this is because, they had lost that lead, which came from shooting threes and running and all. But once the game starts to slow down a little bit, you need something else that's a higher percentage play. Basically, the way it works is the closer you get to the basket, the higher the percentage of shooting is. That's why post-ups are good and important. Plus, they also open up jump shots. If you can get a double team and you're a post-up guy, somebody comes to double, like we see Jeremy go down and double team the offensive guy, well, somebody's open for a shot. And Houston doesn't really have that right now. And that's the reason why I think you're hearing stuff about Dwight Howard and Andrew Bynum. Now, Dwight Howard is not a great post-up player. He needs to work on that. But what offense he ran in Orlando was all about that. It was all about Dwight Howard and a bunch of shooters on the perimeter. And, you're either going to let go against one-on-one against Dwight Howard, or you're going to double him and someone's going to be open to shoot who can shoot. And that's why Houston's looking at these players in the offseason. They're looking at that because they don't have that yet. Again, I believe Demo is the best post-up player on the team. But he's still young. He's still raw. If you can get another guy that's more established at that, then you get him. Okay, Jeremy started the second quarter on the bench. It's pretty normal in terms of what McHale was doing with them. Plus, again, I do think McHale was already looking at he needed more defense because this game was very close now, and Orlando had offensive groove. They were in a good groove shooting. Again, and this is the same thing that we did see in the Washington and the Milwaukee games. Thomas Robinson was better in this game than he was in the first game. And look, he's still getting used to everything. You can see he's looking around and am I in the right spot, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's going to take some time. The player for the Magic that was just killing the Rockets tonight was Tobias Harris. I never even heard of him before. But he was really he was doing great against Houston. As I said, I mean, that comes down to Houston let these guys feel good about themselves on offense. And once you do that, you got a problem. Jeremy came into the game for Patrick Beverley with 6 minutes and 9 seconds left in the second quarter. At that point in the game, Houston was up 46-42. Shortly after he came back into the game, Jeremy had a nice assist to Demo for a layup. And then late in the second, Jeremy had an assist to Chandler Parsons for a layup. By the way, Chandler got his hair cut. So if you're a Chandler fan, and I know there's a lot of Chandler fans, you can go and check it out. I don't know, it's kind of like short everywhere, and he got like more hair on the top. I don't know, it's a different type of a look, but it looks pretty cool. I mean, Chandler's he looks kind of like Bieber to me, but I like him, and I know a lot of fans like Chandler a lot. I also wrote a note at this point. I said, Omer looks like a big version of the golfer Rory McIlroy. It looks like Rory McIlroy on stilts or something like that in terms of the way he looks in the face. So, I don't know. It's just, I just made a note about that. They went to a timeout. I was watching, I think it was the Orlando feed that they had on, and it was great. They had this little kid in the stands, and he was sitting beside a kid in Orlando gear, but this kid had on Houston gear. And he's probably like 10, something like that. But he was a smart little kid, and he was looking at the Orlando guy, looking at the camera, looking at his friend, saying, no, wrong gear. And he was like, kind of pulling out the chest on his Houston gear. Like, Houston's the one. It was funny. He was doing a little dance, just hilarious stuff. If you like the little funny kid stuff, that was great. It was just, it was a kick. Late in the second, Jeremy drove into the lane, did a nice little wraparound pass. He kind of like came out, he did a pass around the body of the defender to Demo for a nice little layup. That was an excellent play. Also late in the second, somebody was shooting a free throw, and I can't remember who it was. It might have been Demo. But Kelvin Sampson, the assistant coach, kind of like took Jeremy aside on the sidelines and was talking to him about something. Just normal conversation, but he was talking to him now. I made a note here. Jeremy's playing slower now, which negates one of his key strengths, which is speed. What I mean by that is just overall in the offense, they still are an up-and-down team, but Jeremy's playing slower, which is good. That's going to help him. I know somebody said it. Jeremy needs to learn to play without having to play at 100 miles an hour. And that's tough because he's faster than everybody. So if you play at 100 miles an hour against Jeremy, he's probably going to beat you. But it's the progression of a player. One of the knocks on LeBron James used to be he's great in full court offense. Now, he's great running out for dunks and everything. He's not so good in the half court. Well, he's worked on that. That's why he went and worked with Hakeem Olajuwon on posting up and stuff. Now LeBron's pretty darn good in the half court offense. And that's again, LeBron didn't do that until his, 9th year, 10th year, 9th year, maybe after his 8th year. Jeremy's in his 3rd year. And so it takes time. It takes time to learn different skills. But as I said, just like with him having to learn defense better, all of these things are going to help him become a complete, total player. And it doesn't look great necessarily right now. It's not fun. He didn't play the last 14 minutes of the game, but it's going to help him. And a lot of guys go through, they don't learn this as quickly, or they never learn it. And it's good that Jeremy is having to play in this system and having to play with a really good defensive guard behind him, because all of that's going to help him. Again, just wait a couple years and you'll see. You'll see how much better he is because of having to do those things. Now, at halftime, Jeremy had almost a perfect stat line. He had 8 points, no boards, and 5 assists. He was 2 of 2 from the field, 2 of 2 from three-point land, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. His efficiency was 12. The only negative on his stat line was a TO, was 1 turnover. So as I said, he played well in this game, really well. It's just a matter of what Houston needed to win in terms of why he didn't play in the fourth. And that was because Houston needed more defense. And that's why Patrick Beverley played. Okay, Jeremy started in the third quarter. And I made a note then that Houston now, they came out of halftime really looking to step up their defense, but it was too late. And Jeremy was trying to put more pressure on the ball in terms of defense, but it's too late because Orlando already felt good about themselves on offense. They already saw a lot of shots go down, so it was too late for Houston to try to play better defense because Orlando already was rolling. And so I said, that's when I knew it was going to be a tough game. I knew it was going to be like Washington, like Milwaukee, because Orlando was in a groove. And Houston let them get into a groove. And that was the problem. James Harden was kind of doing a little bit more point guard work now at this period in the game. And that's fine. As I said, I mean, Jeremy's still the point guard. But there are going to be times when Harden runs that role, and that's fine. That's okay. That makes it easier for Jeremy. And James Harden's a good playmaker, so that's all right. Middle of the third quarter, Jeremy had a really nice play. He was driving the ball in transition, and he got fouled. And after he got fouled, as soon as he heard the whistle, he went like he was taking a shot. Now, they ended up not giving him free throws, but that was a really smart play by Jeremy because what he understood was, hey, the whistle's there. I'm going to pretend like I'm shooting, so I get 2 free throws. That's very smart. We've talked about Jeremy needs to draw more fouls, and that's how you do it. You see great players, they'll do that. They'll put up a shot after the whistle blows, so that they get to shoot free throws. That's just that's a skill. You have to learn how to do that. And it takes, you have to be, your mind needs to get into that state of thinking. And that Jeremy showed that there. Like I said, he didn't get the free throws. The referee changed the call, but that was a really good play by Jeremy. And that's something that's going to help him get more free throws in the future. Now, right after that play, Jeremy he was upset. I think he was upset because he didn't get the call. And he drove right to the basket, going right to left down the lane, and went in for a reverse. Didn't make it, but he got fouled, and he got 2 free throws and made 1 out of 2. So he was determined at that point. As we talked about, there are times where Jeremy gets determined and he wants to go at something, and it doesn't work. That was an instance where it did work. One of these games, the Washington game, one of the guards made a move on Jeremy, and then Jeremy wanted to come back at him, and it didn't work. And, he turned the ball over or something. And then I said, the next play, Jeremy gave the ball to Harden because he realized, he tried it, didn't work. Well, in this instance, it did work. And that's how these things play out. Sometimes you want to be assertive and it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Now, the better a player you are, it's going to work more often. Maybe you have more skill, maybe you have more athletic ability, and you can do it time after time. But for most players, sometimes it's going to work and sometimes it isn't, and you work to get better and better so that you can do what you want to do. If you want to attack on offense and you really want to get a basket, you know how to do it, and you can do it with consistency. And Jeremy will do that. He'll learn that more and more. Okay, I would say, look, Jeremy had a bunch of good plays in this game. I really like this play. I know it's late in the third. I don't have a time. I don't have a time marked for this. Jeremy went he drove into the lane, into the paint, and from the right side of the court going towards the left. He did his little, we know he does that move. He'll stop and do a little pivot move, kind of pivot, step back away from the defender. Well, he did that move, but he ended up doing an up and under, which I explained to you guys the other day that Demo did. It's again where you fake like you're going to shoot. The defender comes up on you, and you step around him. You step through him, basically. And then you can put up a little scoop shot a lot of times. And that's what Jeremy did. And that was a excellent move. That was an excellent move. It didn't look like he could do it, but he did it. And it was a very good awareness and a very good move by him. Guards should develop post-up moves like that move, like an up and under, because it's useful to have for just instances like the one Jeremy was in there, and he showed that skill there, and that was an excellent move. I know his teammates were really happy, like really impressed with that move, and they should have been. That was a great move. Patrick Beverley came in for Jeremy with 57 seconds left in the third quarter, and that was the last Jeremy played in this game. The score was 86-86 at that time, and at the end of the third quarter, it was 87-86 for Orlando. So as I said, this game was going down the same road as the Milwaukee game and as the Washington game. And at this point, I was thinking, oh, man, they're going to lose this game. I was really concerned just because Orlando they were doing well on offense, and they weren't concerned about Houston's defense. But McHale changed it up. He changed it up by staying with Patrick Beverley, and it worked. And like I said, I'm glad he did that. Not only was it the right move in this game, he learned from the mistake of the Washington game of bringing Jeremy back, and it didn't work. For whatever reason, Jeremy was sick. Whatever the reason was, it didn't work. And we said, hey, it was great. McHale brought Jeremy in that game. He had confidence in him. That's true. The most important thing, as I said, is win the game. And I think that keeping Patrick Beverley in the fourth quarter was the best chance for Houston to win. And it worked. So I'm happy McHale did it, because you had to win this game. Jeremy's cool. That doesn't matter. Again, if the team wins, Jeremy's great. If they don't win, then there's issues. Excuse me. I wrote Thomas Robinson was looking a little bit lost at this point in the game. Where am I supposed to be? That it happens. Guys go to a new system. Defense and rebounds were killing Houston in the fourth quarter for the beginning of it anyway. And then with 5:38 left in the game, it was 98-98. And there was a timeout. After the game goes under 6 minutes in every quarter, I believe, then when there's a dead ball, like a stoppage in play, you'll get a TV timeout. They just, they do it for advertisements or whatever. And I was thinking, okay, is McHale going to bring Jeremy back in? But he didn't. And like I said, I think that was the correct move. Right after that, Beverley hit a huge three-pointer. Houston was down 100-98, and Beverley hit a huge, huge three to put Houston up 101-100. And they never looked back from that. That play was critical in this game, and it was a gutsy play. Look, Patrick Beverley, they showed the stat during the game. He's shooting more than 40% from three-point range. That's amazing. Again, Patrick Beverley's not going to start. Don't worry about it. You're going to hear that, though. The haters are going to come out and say, Patrick Beverley's sanity, which it was. He should start. Oh, gee, he's better than Jeremy. No. Don't worry about that. The key is they're both playing well, he and Jeremy, and that's why I'm happy that we got rid of Tony Douglas, because Patrick Beverley needs to play. I knew a lot of things about Patrick Beverley coming into when he joined the team. I did not know he would shoot this well. I did not think he was this good of a shooter, but he's hitting shots now from 3, and that's critical. I don't think Houston would have won this game without Patrick Beverley. That's probably the easiest way to say it. In my opinion, they would not have won the game. So this is where the depth pays off. And give Daryl Morey and Kevin McHale credit. Give them credit. Beverley had a couple of steals down the stretch. I mean, he was getting his hands on the basketball and just causing havoc with Orlando's defense. I mean, Houston went on like an 11-0 run near the end of this game, and most of it was because of defense, and a lot of that defense was because of Patrick Beverley. And so this game was looking like it was just who's going to score last. But Houston was able to clamp down on Orlando's defense because of Patrick Beverley, and that's why he was in the game, and it worked. It's great. Like I said, I mean, they had to win this game, and this is going to help Jeremy. As I said, we're talking in the comments, people talking about long-term versus short-term with the players, the trades. And that's what's going on for Jeremy, too. Short-term versus long-term. Short-term, okay, he didn't get to play tonight, and haters going to come out, and Beverly's better. This is going to help him. Just the same way that playing in this offense is going to help him long-term. It's going to help him a lot. And finally, as I said, the win is the only thing that matters. This was, they needed this win. They needed this win, and they got it. Okay, right now it's 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, March 1st in the United States, which means it is 12:30 p.m. on Saturday, March 2nd in Taipei, Taiwan. Now let's do some comments and questions from Jeremy Lin Comments video number 3 and a little bit from the Game 59 video. That was when Houston lost to the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, Fonafet Nathvong. I'm sorry, I just messed up your name there. I agree. Jeremy doesn't need to play a lot differently than what he's playing. The new guys are going to help the team a lot once the chemistry gets a little bit better with time. And that's just part of going to a new team. You don't know the guys. They don't know you. You don't know the system. Blah, 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 blah. Third rail, yes. New York media is notorious for writing inflammatory stuff. And that's the tabloids, they call them, the New York Daily News, New York Post, New York Newsday. They love winning this stuff. They love writing this stuff. This is what they do. Doesn't matter, though. The Lin fans are much more than the Lin haters. Lin fans win. Lin haters lose. As you said, it does take time to build chemistry. This team is going to get chemistry. It's just going to take a little bit of time now with Demo starting and the new guys on the team. Grizzlies, the team is young, and they will continue to improve the chemistry. It just takes time. This is not only do they have not a lot of chemistry, but this is a young team with guys that are still building up their skill sets. The only player on the team that's a relatively complete player is Harden, and he can work on his defense some too. So, Omer, great defender, offense, not good. Long way to work on. Jeremy, plenty to work on all over his game. Shooting, floaters, runners, all kinds of stuff. So it's chemistry and it's just individual skill sets. And they're going to get better and better over time. APC GAM 24 asked, should Houston be better with the way that they did last year, finishing in 9th place and all the money that was spent? I would say no, because they got rid of some real talent. I mean, they got rid of Dragic, they got rid of Lowry, they got rid of Scola. So you're substituting young guys in for those guys who are a little bit more established, and they already have chemistry, the old team. So you can't buy chemistry. It takes time to build that up. And that's what the Lakers have learned this year. Yeah, they've had injuries and stuff. They weren't playing that well when everybody was healthy. Why? Because they're not used to playing with one another, even though there's a lot of talent on the team. So that's what's happening with Houston this year. But their future is brighter now because of who they got. And I think the money's been well spent, and I think it will pay off even more in the future. Dai Sun from Australia, as Reverence pointed out, I'm not really sure that Jeremy or any other Asian athlete is going to have a shorter athletic career just because they're Asian. I know you mentioned that, but I mean, the only person I can think of that applies to, I guess, you might think it applies to, is Yao. Well, Yao just messed his foot up. I mean, unfortunately, Yao made a mistake in terms of and the team did in how they worked with his foot injuries. That can happen to anybody. Bill Walton, Hall of Fame player, I believe, he wrecked his feet when he came in the NBA because I believe it was because he's a vegetarian diet and his calcium intake wasn't enough. He just destroyed his feet. So it can happen to anybody of any background. So I wouldn't necessarily think that just, because somebody's an Asian athlete that they're going to have a shorter career. I'm not sure that that's necessarily the case. APC GAM. Stephen A. Smith he's okay. He's an entertainer. He's like Skip Bayless. These guys, they put their, the expression is you put your finger up in the wind, which way is the wind blowing, and that's what position they'll take. One day they love Lin, the next day they hate Lin. It's just, it's entertainment. Overall, I think he's cool. I like Stephen A. I have no problem with him and do his thing. I think the Knicks fans will regret the Felton for Lin move pretty soon if they don't already regret it. Yeah. Sumiamchi, look, the McPhail quote gaffe was just that. It was just a gaffe. There's nothing there. I looked at the stuff. I listened to the Jonathan Feynman, Rockets Talk, Rockets.com talking about it. There's nothing there. He was, what McHale was doing was he was exaggerating for effect, is the expression. And he was saying the 9 turnovers, whatever, just to make his point. But he likes Jeremy. And, Jeremy's doing fine. Don't worry about that right now. We have to keep our eyes on McHale and see what's what and what he's doing. But that quote is nothing. Don't even worry about that. QQ974. Yeah, Pau Gasol may be a better teammate than Dwight Howard is, but Howard's a better player than Pau is. Now, Pau could still do some things, but Pau has lost a step, especially on defense. But I would still take Pau on the Rockets because Pau offensively is tremendous, including as a passer. MB Dubaha, if Lin didn't play with James Harden, then I would probably say I'd like him to play with Dwayne Wade. You took Kobe out of the conversation, and Dwayne Wade is still a top 3 shooting guard along with Harden and Kobe, in my opinion. He just had some knee issues earlier in this year, just like Jeremy did, because they were both coming off of surgery. OMG, by golly. Well, look, Dwight Howard might stay in L.A., so we might not even have to worry about Dwight Howard and his attitude and stuff. I think Howard just needs to mature a little bit, and I think that will come soon enough. Dai's son, thanks for the nice words on my answering comments. Look, like I said, I like answering comments. It's fun. I love to read what everybody's saying and react and interact with people. That's what it's all about. You wondered how Lin was going to come back after the Milwaukee game. Look, he came back pretty well. Again, he really played well in the first half. So I love that story about you and basketball, and that's really cool. I'm not sure where you originally came from, like what country you moved moved from when you went to Australia. But it's great that you get to watch Jeremy's games now with your wife. And look, Australia's cool. Australia's always fascinated me. I think it fascinates a lot of people. I'd love to get down there sometime to Sydney and around. And, so I hope you're enjoying it down there. Calmeek, dude, T-Rob is kind of like Tyrone Hill. Yeah, he is. He is in some ways. Tyrone Hill is a player that played, 10, 15 years ago, maybe. I remember him when he played for the Golden State Warriors. I think Robinson is a little bit shorter than Hill, and I think he's a better offensive player than Tyrone Hill. He might not be yet, but I think he will get there. Tyrone Hill was a great player, though. I mean, he was a good guy to have on your team. He was tough. He was a rebounder. He's a good defender. You said, what is Houston known for? When I think of Houston, I think of oil and energy market, particularly oil, but other energies as well. It's a big market. I mean, it's big. Like I said, people don't realize how big it is. But as you said, I mean, look, there are definitely plenty of knucklehead fans in Houston the same way there are in every other big city. L.A., New York, Chicago. That's just part of the deal. You're right, Mikhail is definitely not Coach Popovich. There's no doubt about that, but nobody else is either. I like Jeff Van Gundy. I'd be fine with Jeff Van Gundy as the coach again. He's not a perfect coach either, but I like him. I think he'd do a good job. 1997 Camper. Yeah, it is kind of annoying to see the Lakers winning so much right now, particularly because Houston's trying to get a better spot than them and make sure that Houston makes the playoffs. I used to be a huge Lakers fan back when Magic was playing for them. Now, not really as much, but I did like them a lot back in the 80s and 90s. Jose, I agree. Phil Jackson was good for the NBA, and there's a chance he might be coming back. I know there's been some rumors about that, maybe as a front office position for a team. Into the fray, yes, I did say I started from the bottom of the comments. That was kind of funny. Andy Lee, again, as I said above, don't believe the hype about the Mikhail quote. I just don't. I don't think there's anything into that. I'd say the same thing to BPJI 97. I think the Mikhail quote is overhyped. I just don't think there's anything to it. Mr. Hunvaraya, I've heard the talk about Andrew Bynum as well. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not sure if that's accurate. Look, as I mentioned earlier, Houston could use some post-up offense. Bynum's a good post-up center, real good. But his knees are an issue, and we're not sure what's going to happen. So let's just keep our eyes on it this summer, and we'll see where it goes. Okay, now moving over to Game 59 comments. And again, I'm only going to do a few of these from that video, just because I want to get this video up as quickly as I can. Kwakwai Live from Hong Kong, Dai's son from Australia, 4-star KT from the UK, and APC Game 24. Everybody on the team had a hand in the Milwaukee loss. And as I mentioned or alluded to earlier, a lot of it was about defense. That's what really hurt the team in that game. Shiwei Kao from Taiwan, I totally agree. Morey should be thinking long-term on the trades, not the short-term. Now, it's not fun when new guys don't have chemistry and we lose games because of that. But you still got to think about the long-term. And I think that's what Daryl Morey is doing. Dyson, you made some good points about weaknesses on the Rockets roster. They do need more. They need some more things. They need some more elements on the team. But I think it's going to come. For now, they just need to get the new guys used to each other, get Demo used to starting, etc., etc. 1997 Camper, I believe Utah has beaten Charlotte. So, unfortunately, Houston's not going to move into the 7th spot. But that was Charlotte's not that great of a team, and Utah is really good at home. But Utah is still suspect. Like I said, if the Lakers make the playoffs, then they're probably going to get Utah's spot. That's what I believe. Clock Why Lie. Daryl Morey did the trades close. He did them now because that's when the trading deadline is. The trading deadline is like a week or something after the All-Star break. So that's when players usually get traded. Most of the trades that take place in the NBA in a year will come right around the trading deadline. So it's kind of, we really didn't have a choice. So it's unfortunate, but I think the trade is going to pay off in the long run. I really believe that. I feel good about that. Dyson, I agree with what you said. Houston did lose a lot of chances to crush Milwaukee's spirits during the game, particularly early when they were up 17 points. Okay, like I said, I will do more comment answers in the next video, whether that's a comment video or it's the Game 61 video. Like I said, I just want to get this up as quickly as I can. Next game for Houston is against the Dallas Mavericks on Sunday, March 3rd here in the United States. That'll take place at 7 p.m. at night, which means early Monday, 8 a.m. in Taipei, Taiwan. Your comments below, thumbs up, thumbs down on this video. Give you all the information in the video description, the game highlights and game stories, and the box score of the game. Also information so you can come and join the Conservative New Media Facebook group if you'd like to. We have over 2,000 members there and counting. I am Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. I hope everybody's having a good night or good day wherever you are around the world when you watch this. Great win tonight. Houston needed to get back on the winning track. Don't worry about Jeremy in the fourth quarter. The team won the game. I'm sure Jeremy's thrilled, and Coach McHale made the right decision. And that's it. I'm happy. I'm happy for Patrick Beverley. I'm happy that the team won. So everybody take care, and we will talk to you again soon.